Welcome to another episode of The Nines presented by AT&T. I'm here once again alone amidst the pandemic at the Cloud9 studio. Fortunately, still not able to have our guests here in person, but I'm really excited today because we get to talk to Reapered, the coach of the Cloud9 LCS team. And obviously, there's a lot to unpack here, coming off such a strong spring split. Still finishing second here in summer, but not in the same dominant fashion. But there's been a lot of experimentation. There's been a lot of trials. There's been some tribulations with the team as well. So let's go ahead and get into it and start chatting with Reapered, my old friend. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. How's the team doing? Let's start there. You guys at least ended second. You know, shout out to Team Liquid for beating TSM in that last match in order to ensure that you guys got the bye. You've ended your last week 2-0 against Dignitas and CLG. You know, pretty easy. You gotta say, but still. First 2-0 week in a while. So what is the mood and the atmosphere surrounding the team right now?
Right now we are trying to really focus on our playoffs games, and then trying to be shape our focus to level, like beyond on the top. That's the only matter for playoffs. So I don't remember right before our weekend kind of mood kind of things. Right now, just we had a small meeting individually, and then everyone make sure we are trying to really shape on our games, like playing solo queue or watch the more games, and trying to thinking about our opponents more and immediate trainings, some sort of things like that to make you something really focused on your scrim games and practice and even just match day games, right? So yeah, nothing I can say about mood. We are just here to be really focused, I guess.
Sounds great. One of the things that we've talked about a lot, you and I and you, like myself and the rest of the team, was that at the start of summer, the goal was to have more play styles. Because you didn't have, you only really had the one play style, and it was very good in spring, but you felt that to go compete at an international level at Worlds, you had to make sure you were good at more styles. Now that the split is over, do you think you did that? Do you think you have more styles now, even if you took some losses along the way? Was it more helpful to learn?
Yeah, definitely we did more than before. I don't necessarily think we are.
Oh no.
And what we are like playing when we are playing different play style, but still it's worth it. And anyway, the patches are changes for shifting to top side than just bot side. Then spring season, there's a strong bot laners like First Pick Barus no matter what, and Kalista. Some sort of that kind of champions are kind of OP at the moment. But right now, is shifting to more utility champions like Ashe, Caitlyn,
Jhin.
like trying to Jhin, like CC or Trap or that kind of ADCs. So we are kind of forced to like shifting to play top side or play around the mid, which is we are good at like 2v2 mid, something like that. But right now there's no like assassins kind of champions. It's more likely control-based or
Hold on. It's like we have a little bit of a connection issue right now. We talked to Reapered. Hopefully this gets cleared up. I do agree with him, though, that it is kind of an interesting shift in the meta towards these AD carries. All right, you cut out there, Reapered. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we're saying the mid lane, more about the Azir, Orianna control mages these days, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's a big change because before you were able to play more roaming mids, Galio and Zoe, and you can still play those, but we've seen teams like, Team Liquid in LCS and Rogue in LEC, the number one teams, move towards more of the control mage scaling style, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because they are simply stronger.
Yeah, pretty good right now. And
Yeah.
do you think that it's been part of the issue for Cloud9 that the early game teams like you and Mad Lions have become less effective now that teams know how to play patiently and scale better into the late game?
Definitely, that's one of the problem, and just simply say, it's not like just patience or that kind of word. It's more likely we are not good at control mages.
Fair enough. What does Niski think about that?
Well, I mean, it's not like this kid is bad at control mages as a team. We have a lots of understanding about snowball the game and play really aggressive, make the plays, and invade enemy jungle, those kind of things. Then formation and play slowly or while the fight. You need to make sure the team fight positioning and formation kind of things has to be safe for our control mage kind of
Yep.
things. It's really difficult play style, right?
It requires a lot of setup.
Yeah.
And you can't just go in, right? And that is what
Yeah.
you've been doing is just engage, engage, engage. So I want to talk about one of your games from this last week where you played versus Dignitas and you played Oriana. And to me, so I think some fans might look at that game and say, oh, Cloud9 should have won quickly, or why couldn't they close the game? So I look at that game and I think, well, Cloud9 was playing much more patiently in that game because the problem I have seen is that when you play late game compositions, you still try to engage like you will win fights in the early game. And so I saw much more patience here in the way that Cloud9 was setting up and playing this game. And in the end, it ended up being a pretty clean win late as you got Oriana, Gangplank, Nidalee, and the Senna online. And to me, this composition is much more meta right now, good for the meta, and showed that Cloud9, maybe not against the best team in Dignitas, was still improving a lot in running this comp.
Yeah, definitely those kind of things we had to play, and I'd like to say, played better than before at the moment, but still in that game, play against Dignitas, there's a lots of positioning problems and formation, I guess, because we are keep giving set to
Yes.
flank position kind of things.
Yes, that did happen.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of things happens, and before playoffs, we spot that kind of problem too. We can improve. That's a good thing, really good thing. At least we won that game. We take those. We won the game, and then there's a still point for improve. So I'd like to say there was a really good game for us. I don't know what fans are thinking because I'm not really reading communities or my Twitter kind of things.
Smart.
Well, I mean, when I winning spring season, for example, I don't really do that because I'm too busy.
Well, I mean, nothing's quite as bad as the InVen message boards, I find, but Reddit is close. It's still bad, so don't go there. Don't go there.
It's fine. It's fine.
The second game of the week. So what I liked about this last week is we got to see the control mage style, and then we also got to see Cloud9 against CLG playing Cloud9 style. Back with the early game pick of Kalista, Niski on Zoe. The big change, I think, was Blabber on Graves, which I don't think he's played it at all so far. Has he played it at all?
No, I think we banned 16 games of our game, or maybe 15. Then it's a pretty new pick for Blabber.
Yeah, so I don't, like I said, I don't think he has played it before. And so why did you select the Graves in this game? I mean, obviously it's still a very strong jungler, and you would want a carry jungler like Blabber on it, but why haven't we seen it until now?
I'd like to say it's a play style thing. like Graves and Nidalee. If you think about those two champions, like aggressive and carry kind of play style, but the fact and truth are they are AFK farming jungler, right?
True. Yes.
And then carry raider. But the problem we had with our in the past games, even Blubber played tanks or Graves or Nidalee kind of champions, he fights, and then it does same problem and same things are happens whenever we are not playing like Lee Sin or at least like those kind of early game jungler. But he really wanna improve that point, and then we have lots of one-on-one meeting and lots of watching replay together and trying to make sure like these picks are work for us, because we've been like 15 games about Graves, but why we cannot play this champion, right? So yeah, that's one of the thing Blubber really wanna improve in this week. I mean last week, and then I think he showed his Nidalee and Graves well. I mean not Nidalee, I guess.
It was okay.
Yeah.
This game though, overall, besides the Graves, was a lot of comfort picks for you guys, and then also very fast, 27 minutes and huge lead. So to me, you showed Cloud9 can still play the old Cloud9 style, but also trying to move into the different, more controlled mage style that you showed against Dignitas. And it wasn't as good, but you don't have as much practice on that. So because of this, and we've seen all these different styles from you, the Wukong Senna, more control mage, like lots of different styles of compositions. How do you feel now going into playoffs with all of these strategies that you have worked on?
I mean, it is a best of 5 right now.
Sure.
So depends on how game goes, and we have a time for scouting the other teams, like our opponents. Minimum 3 games to maximum 10 games, depends on who do we play against. So based on games, we prepare lots of scenario, right? And then those kind of champions and picks are gonna be useful strategy for us in the future if our players are willing to play. Like some of the battle pusher we can play like Senna Wukong or Sonalux, or play different early game style or late game style. Totally depends on what our opponents prepared and played, right? And then we want to be really fix our team to flex our team, I guess, to during the draft. So all of the things are gonna be worth it at the end of the day.
I love that you brought up the Sona Lux, because I was so excited about that game, because I think the strategy is really good, and I think you should have won that game, right? Like, you should have won that game, period.
Yeah.
But this strategy has not been nerfed. So on the latest patch, I thought that they might make some changes to the strategy, because I think it's very strong. And I have tried it out in solo queue with a duo partner myself, and I think it's really stupid when I play it. And what do you think the strengths of it are? And like, for people who don't know how it works, can you describe it? Because the strength of it is in the shields and having Guardian on Lux and also maybe Sona, depending on the matchup. And then also having WMAX on Lux to provide the big shields, and then being aggressive early, but then farming to 2 items, right? Where you get Sona with the Lichbane and the Muramana, right? So how do you, if you were to give advice for people to run this composition themselves, what would you say? How would you say to play it?
Pretty much you're doing you need require to one of the carries in the solo lane or jungler to carry your team, and then you're same feeling about Master Yi Taric kind of things. You're pretty much like aggressive version of Master Yi Taric. I mean, it sounds weird because Sona Lux are aggressive than Master Yi Taric, but the fact is, Cloud9 Lux have a two strong AoE snare and stuns themselves have, and then one of the carries, if for example you play with the Lucian or Hecarim or some sort of LeBlanc kind of champions, they are just never die, and you don't care about healing reduction at all because your shield,
Yes.
your heals are just like 100-ish or maximum 200-ish.
Yep.
Sona's main strengths are not heal. It's more likely shield and
Sure.
movement speed, right?
Yep.
So those kind of things are made you really strong. And then late game, no one can touch those two together because you have a pretty much 1,000 shield every single second. And then your carries are just 1v9 every team fight.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it is a really stupid team comps.
Yes.
If you can make the works.
Yeah, I agree. And like if you guys are, I agree with Reaper, like if you guys are playing in solo queue, you need to make sure that you have a strong carry that can engage onto the enemy because that's the only way it works. But the other thing I love about it, Reapered, is that when you get to Frost Fangs, you have so many wards for vision control on the map. And I think many people don't consider that aspect of you just have twice as many wards as the other team. So it's almost like playing League of Legends from a few years ago with the number of, the amount of vision you can have to make decisions, which I think is a quietly really good part of the strategy.
Yeah, the strategy about two support item being bottom is really OP when you hit the mid or late game because right now for the meta, not the meta, for the game, you can only take the one side of the map with the ward. And then if you have a two support item, you can basically, if you're winning position with the two support picks, you can take whole map. Like there's no vision on the enemy team and you have a like map pack. Basically map pack.
Yes, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I've been, like I said, I have been having a lot of fun trying this myself, and I came to all of these realizations when I was playing it in solo queue, so it was really fun. So I love the fact that you guys have maybe Wukong Senna if you want to play it again, or you have the Sona Lux, and then you have the Control Mage, and then you have the early game roaming style. So it seems like out of all the teams in the LCS, I would say that Cloud9 has the most strategies to use in a best of 5 right now, if I look at all of the teams. Because if we look at some of the other playoff teams, like Team Liquid only really plays one way, EG only really plays one way, FlyQuest only really plays one way, Golden Guardians only really plays one way, right? And so are you confident because of that going into the playoffs, because it's best of 5, that you guys will win again?
Oh yeah, for sure, because our fans might worry about playing strategies we are losing it, or might be they are worried about we are bad at control mages or AFK farming junglers or Sonalux or that kind of things, right? Because we've been showing like struggling, kinda. I agreed, but because of that kind of experience, our stretch and our champions picks are getting improved from there. When you see those strategies or those champions are again, you see much more clean and improved than before, even we are playing same champions. So based on that fact, I'm really confident on our best of 5 because I can prepare much more than the other team coaches, and I can work on our strategy and champions with my players much more because we have 2 weeks basically, right?
Yes, yeah, you do.
And
so
and we can scouting like more games than the other teams. So yeah, it's pretty good.
So when you're doing scouting right now, though, isn't it hard because you haven't seen, you don't know who is going to win and who is going to play? So how are you preparing this week?
Right before playoffs games start, we just need. It is a new patch, so we are prepare ourselves first. Then like what kind of champion we want to try out, or what kind of champion we was trying to improve, like that kind of things. And then once match are started, start from there with scouting like best of 5 games, basically like most recent information than old ones, right?
Okay.
Different patch version or whatever, blah blah blah. I'm still look at the all the replays or all the matches, but most focused on future matches, and right now focused on ourselves.
So this new patch, there are many changes, but not big changes, I would say. Each, small changes, but to many, many champions. Do you think it's going to have a big effect on the meta, or just maybe a couple new picks?
I think it is gonna be a big effect on the meta.
Okay.
Yeah, because the small changes are made champions playable or unplayable. So I saw a couple of the changes, and I'd like to say it was good for our team.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna try out. It is actually good or not today.
I know you won't tell me what you think is good because it needs to be a secret, but I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
When we look at the other teams that will be playing this week, we have FlyQuest, EG, TSM, and Golden Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
How would you rank these teams right now in terms of best to worst?
Okay, best two are gonna be, I'd like to say, TSM and Golden Guardians.
I agree with you. Okay.
And then the other group is worst two, I'd like to say, if we have two best and worst teams.
Yeah, I just made you do that, so you did have to.
Yeah, just one the other side about EG is it's kind of, they have a really high and low
Sure.
based on what kind of champions you're playing. So based on draft, they can be really strong in that of the four, or they can be really worse in that group.
Got it. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. So part of this is that Team Liquid will be able to pick their opponent out of who wins. So I think you guys will have to play, because you just said TSM and Golden Guardians are maybe the two best teams. I think you will have to play one of those teams.
Probably.
Because I think Team Liquid will pick the winner of FlyQuest and EG. And so if you turn on the stream right now that we're on, the Cloud9 stream Reapered, we're going to take a look at some stats, because I picked some stats of you guys versus TSM and you guys versus Golden Guardians provided to us by Microsoft. And let's talk about some of the stats from the teams. So if you have to go play against Golden Guardians, I wanted to look at a lot of objective control and objective kills, and then talk about the team's style. So, for example, Golden Guardians, this split has had much more priority on first dragon and has very good dragon kills overall, though less than you. And I wanted to also look at the junglers, because I think Blabber and Closer have been the two best junglers so far in this split, and how much jungle control each of the teams are getting. Do you think that Golden Guardians has done a good job of transitioning or changing to a new kind of play style around Monte that allows them to be more aggressive in the Monte Closer, the mid-jungle 2v2?
Oh yeah, definitely. They are kind of... Probably they were not that strong if we met at the moment, spring season.
Sure.
Because Monte is Syndra kind of guy. And then Closer is really good at AFK farming jungler. It's not blame. He's really good at that play style, right? And then right now, the meta itself and then champions are we playing is really good fit with them. And then you can definitely see Closer picking Graves or Nidalee no matter what if they are open, and AFK farming, while Damonte playing Syndra, play safe, and then after some point, you cannot stop. So they are really good fit with those kind of play style and with the meta right now. And then that's why they looks cleaner and stronger than before. And, it's probably that.
So, but they play a little bit differently than Cloud9 because, like you say, they wait for closer to become strong, and then you see Monte on Syndra or Twisted Fate or Galio, and then they start to dive side lanes once closer can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But Cloud9 style is more fight and skirmish in the early game, not necessarily waiting for Blabber to get strong because Blabber might be on Olaf or a champion that can fight early, right?
I mean, to be fair, it's not like we are not waiting. Blabber himself, he's not waiting.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That's fair. It's Blabber's fault. But I'm just saying, in terms of your styles, that is, I think, a key difference. Even though maybe you guys play some of the same champions, especially in mid lane.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, I'd like to say for now, we are trying to play kind of every play style. It's not like we are that good. It's more likely we are following the meta and we are following our strengths. So based on draft, or it depends on draft how we want to play the games. So yeah, there's something difficult to say.
Yeah, I think that when you consider Golden Guardians, it does. I think this is going to be a very interesting series because of draft, and I think that a lot of it will focus probably around the junglers if it actually happens, because I think that closer, like you say, closer and Blabber have different strengths.
I think what I can say, earlier match, like I guess, at the very beginning of the series, of the best of 5, they are gonna AFK farming.
Sure.
And then at the end, it might be really bloody jungle matchup.
Cool. That sounds really exciting.
Man, just give me a Lee Sin.
I mean, I really want to see this matchup because I think it could be fun. The other matchup that I think is probably likely to happen is Cloud9 versus TSM. So we could look at some stats there as well. And TSM has really different style, right? They do not fight for first dragon. They don't stack dragons. They don't go after Herald. In fact, what is surprising to me, Reapered, is even when they have 12 wins and 6 losses, they only get the first inhibitor 55% of the time, which is kind of crazy, right? To win most of your games, but only kill the first inhibitor, that means they're losing it 45% of the time, but they're still winning way more games in which they lose the first inhibitor. Don't you find that interesting?
Well, I mean, it's not flame to any team, but TL and TSM does won the game, which is they have to lost.
I see. So,
I mean, lots of games are going that way. It's not like flame. I'm just
they win the games.
What I saw.
They win the games that they should lose. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And a lot of that is because Bjergsen has been really good, and even when they are behind, they find ways to get kills. Right?
Yeah. After he shaped, he played much younger. So I think Beard was problem.
The beard was the problem. Okay. Blame the beard. Do you have any concerns about TSM as a team, or would you rather face TSM or Golden Guardians? Because in some ways, I think Golden Guardians is more scary right now.
Yeah, definitely I can see your point, and I don't really mind about play each teams, but if I have to choose, probably I'd like to say TSM.
Okay. Do you think that would be easier?
No, it's not like easier. It's more likely I can see more weaknesses, like clear weaknesses than, Golden Guardians.
I think for Cloud9's style, it would probably be easier to play TSM.
I agree, yeah.
But at the same time, you guys did lose to them recently, not in the last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that game, we saw you doing more of the control mage style with the Azir and then having the supportive AD carry with Sven on Ashe. Was that more of a, you were still getting used to that style of play, or how did you think about that game?
Oh, that game, I personally removed from my memory
You didn't like
because we lost the game.
Broken Blades Aurelia? He did very well on it.
Yeah, he did very well. I mean, one thing I can say for that game, we basically lost from the draft. It's not, I mean, we could play better, but we lost the draft like really badly. So I don't think it's necessarily like plays or in game. We just watched the like few like minutes, like 15 minutes, watching together, and then guys, we just lost from the draft. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it was hard for Licorice to flank with the sets. Like getting the engage was really hard, and I talked to some of the players about that, and I think that they agree. If we look at the format, are you happy now to be in best of fives instead of best of ones, so that the draft can be changed and it's not such a big deal if you lose because of it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, as a coach, who doesn't like the best of 3 or best of 5? You can actually do something. Best of one, like just watch the game and then done. Like nothing you can change during the series. But best of 3 or 5, you can actually put the more inputs and more your personal opinions and then feedback between the games, and then jumping into the next game with a fresh mind or more strengths based on any team draft kind of things are made me like really exciting.
Yeah, and thanks to Microsoft for those stats. Appreciate the insight there. One thing, yeah, good job. One thing I think you have a very interesting perspective on is because you played in best of 2s or best of 3s when you were a player in Korea in Champions. Do you miss that in terms of LCS, or do you think it was really helpful to you as a player to be able to play in those best of 3s?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, more match day experience are most valuable experience than just practice, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of learn what kind of mindset you need when you play multiple games per day. And most likely, you can actually learn things from play best of 5, because you have to kind of reset your mindset every single game, and you have to adapt to the meta between those two teams, because definitely best of 5, there's something weird things are going on. If you win, both of the teams are winning with the Syndra each side, then become Syndra first pick or first lane,
Sure, yeah.
Like those kind of like
mini meta
inside the meta,
mini meta, yeah.
So that kind of things are made you really interesting and really valuable like experience. If you miss the one more signs over there, then you might lose because of you lost that, right? But without those kind of experience, it's really difficult to adapt it at the moment. Then that's why those kind of best of 3 and 5 are really valuable. And as a coach, of course, it's really valuable to having multiple games, because I can put 6 mans, for example, or 7 mans, or I can try out new young players.
Sure.
If there is a best of 3 or 5. But for now, for example, look at the summer. Spring Split don't have circuit points anymore for the Worlds. And then based on our 18 games, if I win one best of 5 at the summer playoffs, I go Worlds.
Right.
At the very minimum.
Yeah, right.
Which means your regular season, the scores are really, really, really matter. And then,
I think it is hard because I like that Riot changed the playoffs to be double elimination, and so you can have more opportunities to play best of fives. But the problem is for a team like Cloud9 or Team Liquid, because you have a bye, like you say, if you win one, then you're in Worlds, so you don't get a lot of experience from playing best of fives if you win just two of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's more likely. My point was, it's really difficult to put in sub players because your regular season score is really matter.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to be fair, we did play the experienced but like team comps a lot, and then I didn't plan to put any sub player in this year anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I was pointing out some sort of examples. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it has not stopped many teams from making big roster changes during the split and trying out many new players. Some of the teams that were not very good, at least I think, did a better job this time of saying, okay, we can't win LCS, so let's try and develop players like Insanity on Immortals or Poom on 100 Thieves. Instead
Contract.
Contract. I mean, he's been around for a while, right? He's been around for a while.
I mean, he's been like up and down a lot too.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, he has been. From listening to him, it sounds like it was more of a motivation issue, and now he feels very motivated again. He's been playing really well.
Yeah, he's been.
So that's definitely interesting. But yeah, a lot of these teams, at least I think, are being a little bit more experimental. I do think, though, we're going to go over and look at the roundup for a few minutes to get caught up on all the Cloud9 news. When we get back, we'll do a Puma giveaway, and then we'll chat with Reapered a bit more. Maybe if you guys have smart questions in Twitch chat, we will ask Reapered your Twitch chat questions so that you can get some insight directly from him. So let's take a look at the roundup.
Howdy there, buckaroos and buckarettes, and welcome to another edition of the Cloud9 Roundup here on the Nines, presented by AT&T. Finally, some good news for our LCS boys as they go 2-0 over Dignitas and CLG this week. Now, what does that mean? Well, they'll be our second seed in the LCS Summer Playoffs and secure themselves that all-important bye, making it much easier to get to Worlds and defend their title. The Academy team, they won versus CLG Academy, but unfortunately they lost versus Dignitas Academy. Still going to be looking, though, to make that strong playoff run. On PUBG Mobile, Cloud9's team ended Day 4 of the PMWL West League Finals in 4th place with 274 points. Big news for Cloud9 on the Rainbow Six front. They were able to take the win versus Cyclops Gaming to secure a spot in the grand finals of the Six Major over in the Asia-Pacific region. And when they hit that finals, they won with a flawless 7-0 Map 4 against Giants Gaming to take the title. So congratulations. Big news for the Cloud9 Valorant team. Well, they participated in the FaZe Clan Invitational this past week, and they beat the eventual champions TSM in the group stage, but they didn't have the best luck in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they do get a win versus FaZe Clan, but a loss to Envy and a loss to Immortals will knock them out of that tournament. You can look forward, though, to the Knights Gauntlet hosted by the Pittsburgh Knights. That'll be the next tournament Cloud9 plays in. It was a slow start after the player break for our Counter-Strike boys, and they took not one, but two losses to Team 1 Esports. First up in the FunSpark OTNA qualifier, and second up in Group B of the DreamHack Open. Sure, they're just getting back up to speed after a long hiatus. And we'll round out the roundup with C9 organizational news. Cloud9 officially partnered with Uconnect Esports to support collegiate esports organizations with online events and experiences during the COVID pandemic. So if you're a college student, you might want to keep a sharp eye on those Uconnect events. And in other news, I Will Dominate becomes the newest Cloud9 streamer and content creator. Welcome to Dominate. If you haven't checked out his shows yet on the LCS or the LEC and his co-streams, You might want to get on over and do that. He makes some mighty fine content. New stream series presented by Cloud9 called Presence of Mind has been created with our partners Kaiser Permanente and will be hosted by Aaron Ashley Simon to discuss mental health and how it affects players, Cloud9, and our community as a whole. First episode will go on this channel, this stream here, August 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific, so remember to hit that follow button. Finally, let's take a look at the Cloud9 subreddit, and you can see the questions our interns answered in the Cloud9 Intern AMA, that means Ask Me Anything, that happened yesterday. Of course, if you're looking for that Cloud9 internship, you might want to take a look and see what that experience is like. Well, that about does it for this week's Cloud9 Roundup. Now back to the Nines.
Welcome back to the Nines presented by AT&T. We are going to be doing a Puma giveaway for you guys, so if you would like to enter and you live in North America and you're 18 or older, type hashtag Puma in chat and then one of our mods will get back to you for the winner. So to round out our playoff conversation, Reapered, we are going to talk about, will you win? Will you win the summer split playoffs, and who is the most scary opponent that you think you have if you are going to win?
Yeah, we will win. And
Good, I like the confidence.
then probably scariest opponents are Team Liquid for now,
Okay.
because they are, as a team, really good fit with this meta. Play slowly and control mages on the Jensen and tanks on the top, impact. Then actually utility AD carries are quite good fit with the tactical as well, because it's giving more core JJ room to play more freely, I guess. Some sort of like kind of things are made Team Liquid looks much more stronger than before as a meta perspective. And then yeah, they are scariest one.
When you look at the players, Core JJ was the potentially the MVP of the split, and he was the reason that you, I think, really lost with your Sona Lux composition when you played against Team Liquid. Do you have are you thinking about strategies of how to deal with Core JJ in playoffs? Because it's been his roaming and his plays on the map that I think have really helped Team Liquid.
Yeah, one of the strengths I can think about right now is Lane Kingdom. If we win, he can loam. Win game is that easy.
That's true. So guys, if you want to put questions for Reapered in Twitch chat, go ahead. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit more about Team Liquid style, because it has been kind of, they've only had that one style that you say, and even though the meta is very good for them right now, earlier you mentioned that they're going to be more with the patch, more top lane carries. Do you think that this will affect Team Liquid because Impact maybe isn't as comfortable on those kind of champions?
Definitely. I know he plays lots of carry champions in the solo queue right now.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, probably as a team, they are gonna choose some sort of tanks on the top, like Ornn, Mordekaiser, and Shen. Might be.
Sounds likely.
Yeah, sounds likely. It's very Team Liquid, right? I mean, there's it is a best of 5, so definitely we can see some sort of impact on carries potentially, because earlier game they are put impacts on carry and showing we can play like this kind of champions and this kind of strengths, but it is work, it's gonna be dangerous. But if it's not work, it's gonna be sure. Okay, we are safe, you know?
Yeah, free win. Here's a good question from Winter's Ward. How do you think NA will be able to do at Worlds, and how much did the region improve between spring and summer?
It's very difficult questions, because every year Worlds, as a coach, if we go there, it's not like I don't really care about our legion or
Sure.
played in NA, because there is a stronger opponent and really they have their own identity to play the game, and then we kind of accept like from everyone. We kind of take Diamond Gaming play like this. We take those and FunPlus Phoenix, they are playing this kind of way. We take those and then we are kind of mix all the strengths and then we kind of learn and drain from them.
Sure, makes sense.
Because in the NA there is not many play styles or not many identities they had.
Yes.
As a team play kind of perspective, it's not like team organization perspective, right? But during the war, I can definitely see those kind of teams are playing flowly with their own identity. So we just see as a coach, because I do believe I have a really good understanding of the games or how approach those kind of things. So we just take those, okay, guys, we lost this game, but look at this. They are playing like this, and then we can probably copying this kind of play style with which way, then, adapt it from there. And it might be they are too strong with this. So let's not try this. It's not our style.
Sure.
So
sure.
it's a really, really new practice and really new meta. During the Worlds practice is way different than just play in NA. So it's not like Legion things. It's more likely depends on how we can drain them faster.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Here's a question about. I think this is interesting from Tortalius. What efforts does Cloud9 take in order to identify sleeper picks or team compositions? And from previous episodes of the Nines, when we talked to Sven and Vulcan, I know the Lux Sona came from a European duo who was running it in solo queue that they found, and then they talked to them. Is that normally how it happens? You find one tricks in solo queue, and then try and ask them how it works, or do you use other ways to identify new strong picks?
Multiple way, I'd like to say.
Okay.
Because if Sven and Vulcan find out those kind of things and bring to the team, then we are definitely trying out those kind of things and Shen Aokong as well, or some sort of picks on the top or mid. I watched lots of solo queue games from the Korea.
Okay.
Then Korean solo queue games, and then I see this guy playing this kind of things, and that guy playing this way, like different way to play same champion with us. Then if I see those kinds of things, I can definitely bring to players and watching together and talking about the games. Or the other players can bring a multiple way to the team. It's not like bring to me or I'm bring to players. It's more likely bring to the team on the table, and then we are talking about together and play, practice, and then if we see it is worth it to keep playing it, we are trying to best for work.
Yeah, it's a good way to approach things, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still do brain checks on Blabber and the others before games?
No, not anymore. It's more likely we prepare much better and much more than before, like in the previous seasons or previous years. So it's more likely we already checked everything than brain check.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
A question from Najafan. As you're looking for new potential coaches, what skills do you look for? Like former pro, high solo queue rank, being an analyst, good communication skills, draft knowledge. As head coach, also being Korean, because Rapid Star and coming in, does help. You have a relationship from him from many years ago, playing on your team, and you also have reign over as well for the academy roster. But what do you think makes a good coach to work at C9 with you?
Just kind of says everything.
All of it. You need all of it. All of it. Okay.
Of course, coach is it might be really easy job or it might be really difficult job, because coach require good understanding of the game and then good analyst, and you need lots of experience and you need to get respect from your players, and you need to have a good relationship with all the people around you. You need communication skills for approach your point of the review or kind of way to see the games. Even you have a good way, even you have a really good point about the game. If you are not skillful at communication, don't take those,
Yeah.
And then
Well, also, all of your coaches are former pro players, including
Yeah,
Wes Rice.
true.
Do you value that a lot? Is that one of the things you look for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really necessarily think you need you has to be a former player when you are becoming pro. I mean, coach.
Sure. Yeah.
But it is a good advantage about being a former pro player is most likely you understand the game very well, which is really helpful, and then you understanding your players very well because you had the same experience with them.
I want to ask you a question about who you think is coach of the summer split. Who is the best coach? You can't pick yourself, okay? So besides Reapered, who is the best coach? Because we have now Jat joining Team Liquid. I think that Inero on Golden Guardians has done a really good job. They went 1-5 to start the season, but once they figured out their style, they went 8-4 to or 8-4, yeah, 8-4 to finish it out. So, in your perception as a coach, who should win Best Coach?
Team Liquid coaching steps should win the season.
Okay.
I mean, coach of the split. And then I'd like to say Team Liquid coaching steps and TSM Golden Guardians. All of those teams are doing really well compared to last season. And then Flycast, obviously they are be there because they were second place last season. They was also doing good job. So, yeah, those teams are doing really good job at coaching perspective.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's see here. Who is I'm going to change this question a little bit. Who is the team in the world that you love to watch most as a coach? What is your favorite team to watch right now from around the world?
For now, is Damwon Gaming.
Really? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. What do you like about Damwon? I mean, Damwon's a fun team to watch for sure.
Yeah, win lane, win game.
Okay. Come on, Reaper. That's so boring.
No, I mean they are approaching the game right now really differently than the other teams. Then the way to they are set up the objective or way to they are set up the rotation kind of things are, if you see really detailedly about the damn game, it's really different. And then one of the most interesting about watching Damwon Gaming games are before Chinese games are really interesting to watch because of the team fight.
Sure.
During the team fight, they have lots of good decisions,
Yep.
like such a small or big things about like flash or like flash timings or engage timings or disengage timings, those kind of things. But right now, I can clearly see Damwon Gaming doing more interesting things in the team fight because they are sometimes really hardcore engage, but sometimes they are really have a patience and waiting for something. Even during the team fight, they are save every single skills for at the very edge of the moment. Those kind of things are made me really interesting to watch. Oh, these guys are really good at this game,
So they can play a more patient style, but also still be more of the aggressive style as well. Yeah, I would agree. I think they've been diversifying their play style overall. Do you think that Korea has a better chance this year of winning the World Championship? Or do you think it's still maybe China? No, still not good enough?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a team, if win the Worlds in the Korea, it's going to be Damwon Gaming. But I'd like to say Chinese teams have a better chance, though. It's not because of the Damwon Gaming's weak or their T1 is not strong enough. It's more likely during the Worlds, if teams are scream each other's and developing their plays level, then I really see Chinese teams are being way stronger than the other region for now.
For now.
For now, yeah.
There is a question here about the boot camp, and we'll talk a little bit about the boot camp before we stop the show. You guys are leaving right after playoffs to go to China, I know.
Yeah.
So you, immediately after finals, you are going to get on a plane and go to China. What is your plan when you get to China?
Scream as many games as possible.
So you're going to Shanghai. Do you have a facility there set up for you guys yet?
Oh, we are going to some sort of hotel for quarantine over there, and then
yep.
after that 2 weeks, we are moved to like the other hotel, which
Okay.
is have a like big players room, I guess, like screen room kind of things.
Okay.
So that's the order prepared by Riot Games, and
nice.
we are actually don't know how it looks likely.
Okay.
So I don't know personally. I just go there to do my job, you know.
How are you going to scrim during quarantine? Just from your own rooms, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
just from own rooms.
Wow. For 2 weeks?
Yeah, because we can always stay 2 weeks.
Wow, that's going to be hard, I think. That's going to be hard.
Yeah, it is, but it's gonna be fun.
Sure, sure. So when you get to China, you just go to scrim. Do you have any other goals that you want to accomplish with the team?
Not really. I really hope just teams are beyond the really shape, focused on edge level to get all of the things we can learn from there. So for now, I cannot thinking about the other thing than just practice and being shaped.
So there is not a lot of time from when you leave for Worlds to the start of Worlds. It's only like a month, right? Or 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter than normal. Do you think that gives you an advantage or a disadvantage?
I don't necessarily think it is gonna be advantage or disadvantage because there is upside and downside between like longer prepare time to shorter prepare time. So I think just it is a good thing to just shorter to beginning to the show.
I'm surprised you say that because Cloud9 always does better in the second round robin, the second half of group stage at Worlds, where you guys do bad and then do better later, right?
Yeah, we do.
So I would think more time is better for you, but it's okay. I believe you.
I mean, I do think that way is better too. But the situations right now and then
it's hard.
everything's are going on, probably definitely better for like shorter. But in the future, everything's are no more. Then I'd rather have a like slowly take the moment and enjoy the moment and adapt and drain from the teams. You know?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
What is the team that you want to play most at the World Championship that you would be excited to play?
It's a kind of boring answer, but kind of every team.
Yeah, sure.
Cause
But you have to pick one. You have to pick one.
one.
Yeah, just pick one team. The team you want to play the most.
I can think about lots of teams I don't want to play against, but
Sure. Sure. You know, maybe SKT, or that might be an easier Korean team if they make the World Championship, or any of the European teams. I want to see you play against Mad Lions.
oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I think that would be a
fun
really
one.
fun
Yeah.
game to watch for me.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like that a lot.
I can see it's gonna be really exciting game between those two,
Yeah.
and then this key about some sort of relationship with the Matt Ryans as well, because he is former Splice player, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting game. I'd like to say, yeah, Mad Lions. Yeah.
All right,
Good
Mad
pick,
Lions.
good pick. Good job, good job.
Picks. All right. Well, thank you, Reapered, for joining us on the latest episode of the Nines here, presented by AT&T. Lots of insight today. We'll be back with more League of Legends next week to chat probably about the last week's games. I mean, the thing is we won't have seen Cloud9 play, so I guess we're just going to get takes on people's opinions on what had happened in the first round of the LCS playoffs. So it should be interesting. Thanks a lot, Reaper. Good luck.
Thank you a lot, too. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, AT&T. Goodbye.